SHOT Show season is creeping up again, and the buzz around these new handguns is already getting loud. Every brand is teasing drops, leaks are slipping out, and a few of these pistols look like they're about to flip the 2026 lineup on its head before the doors even open. What's up? This is Ted from Line 45, and I'm breaking down the new handguns set to drop at SHOT Show 2026. Why people are watching these models closely, and the early features that have shooters fired up before the show even starts. Before we dive in, do me a solid. Smash that subscribe, tap the bell, hit all the dang buttons down there. You don't gotta. But it keeps this train rolling and lets me crank out more of this wild gun talk for y'all. Alright, enough of that. Let's get back to it. Caracal CMP9 and CMP9K. Caracal CMP9 and CMP9K are on my personal watch list heading into SHOT Show 2026. They are basically SMG-style 9mm pistols built for people who like AR ergonomics but want something that runs MP5 mags and stays compact. The CMP9 runs a 9-inch cold hammer forged barrel with an overall length of around 17 inches and a weight right under 5 pounds. The CMP9K trims that to a 6-inch barrel and roughly 14 inches overall, dropping a little weight for tighter spaces and vehicle work. Both pistols use an advanced blowback system in 9x19 NATO, with an advertised effective range around 300 meters on area targets, which is plenty for a pistol format PCC. You get upper and lower receivers milled from 7000 and 75T 6 aluminum, AR-style fire controls, an ambidextrous rear charging handle, and AR-compatible pistol grips, so the manual of arms feels familiar if you already run carbines. They feed from MP5 pattern magazines, and most of the packages ship with 30-round curved magazines out of the box. Barrels are threaded 1/2x2x2/8 with an A2-style flash hider, so dropping a can or different muzzle device on there is simple. From a shooter's point of view, I see these as modern truck guns or PCC hosts more than range toys. The advanced blowback keeps recoil soft, so staying on target for fast strings or transitions should be easy. Caracal USA already has them listed as in stock, which tells me they are going to be pushing these hard in the booth and on the demo line. If you are into pistol format 9mm rigs that take real mags and feel like a mini carbine, these are worth putting on the Go Handle It in Person list for SHOT. Steyr ATC and ATD Series. The first thing that jumped out at me with the ATC and ATD line is how Steyr didn't follow the striker pistol crowd at all. They went straight for metal frames, real hammer systems, and modular parts you can tune without shipping anything to a gunsmith. That tells me exactly who they're aiming at for 2026. Performance-wise, the ATC series leans heavily into competition. These pistols use stainless steel frames, single action only triggers around 3 pounds, and barrel lengths in the 5 and 6-inch range. That setup gives you a pistol that tracks flat, soaks recoil, and stays predictable during fast transitions. The rock variants add weight up top for even smoother movement, and everything in the ATC family comes optic-ready with slide cuts designed to handle comps or hotter loads without beating the gun up. Steyr clearly tuned this to sit next to full-size metal match guns from CZ, Tanfoglio, and Beretta, but with their own trigger system and grip angle. The ATD lineup shifts lanes completely. This is their duty and defensive branch, running aluminum frames to trim weight and a double-action divided by single-action system that stays around 6 pounds on the first pull. Barrel options run from compact to long slide, including a compensated compact that fits the current trend of shorter guns that still shoot soft. Steyr built-in user-swappable hammer and recoil springs, which let you adjust the feel without changing reliability. For SHOT Show 2026, this series stands out because it breaks away from the striker pistol saturation. Metal frames, legit triggers, and real tuning options give these a different identity. Smith & Wesson Shield X Carry Comp. Shield X Carry Comp fits right into that compensated micro carry space everybody is chasing, but it does it in a way that actually makes sense for daily carry. From my point of view, the key detail is that it stays the same overall size as a regular Shield X, while sneaking a comp into a 3.6-inch barrel, so you are not stuck carrying a longer gun just to tame recoil. Specs are straightforward. It is a 9mm, striker-fired, polymer micro-compact that runs on 13 and 15-round magazines, with 10-round options for restricted states. Overall length is about 6.87 inches, height is around 4.9 inches, and unloaded weight sits right over 20 ounces, so it stays in that subcompact footprint that actually disappears under a t-shirt. The Performance Center build adds Smith & Wesson's PowerPort system, which is a single port at 12 o'clock in the barrel lined up with a cut in the slide. That setup vents gas straight up to push the muzzle down and cut felt recoil, so follow-up shots stay flatter. They did not cheap out on the feature set either. You get an optics-ready slide cut for RMSC and Holosun K pattern dots, a bright Ameriglo-style Lumi-green front night sight with a blacked-out rear and aggressive front and rear serrations that make the little gun easier to run if your hands are wet or cold. Grip is slightly lengthened with a slim profile, so you still get a full firing grip with the bigger mag. Heading into SHOT Show 2026, this is one of the micro-carry pistols I would actually prioritize to shoot on range day. Taurus GX4 Strike Bravo. On the Taurus side of the house, the GX4 Strike Bravo is the one that feels like a real jump from a normal Micro 9 into a legit PDW-style carry gun. It starts with the GX4 Carry 9mm guts and slide, but instead of a basic polymer grip, Taurus and Strike Industries dropped it into a dedicated chassis that is built around the Strike Industries FSA single stabilizer brace. You still have a compact 3.7-inch barrel, 15-round mags in free states, optics-ready Toro slide, and full GX4 parts compatibility, so all your existing mags, base pads, and barrels work with this thing. The chassis is what changes how it runs. There is a long pick rail on the dust cover for lights and lasers, plus another pick section at the rear of the chassis where the brace locks in. That FSA brace folds to the side for storage and swings out to give you more points of contact, better length of pull, and way more stability than a bare pistol, which is why a lot of folks are calling it a civilian PDW or truck gun. With the brace extended, the overall length is about 18.4 inches, and the unloaded weight is roughly 35 ounces. Fold the brace, or buy the non-braced version, and you are back down around 9.6 inches and 24 ounces, which makes the bag carry a lot more realistically. Feature-wise, it checks the modern boxes. You get a threaded one divided by 2x2 8-barrel for a can or comp, a reversible charging handle on the rear of the slide to help you rack it around an optic, and versions in both 10 and 15 round capacity with 2 mags included. Going into SHOT Show 2026, this is one of the few Micro Plus brace setups I actually want to shoot on the demo line, just to see how much real control you pick up past normal handgun distances. Springfield Armory Hellcat 380 ACP Micro Compact. The 380 version of the Hellcat has my attention because Springfield didn't just shrink a gun and call it a day. They actually built a micro compact that keeps the same footprint people already like, while cutting the recoil down to something way easier for newer shooters or anyone who struggles with snappy Micro 9s. Specs stay familiar if you've handled the 9mm Hellcat. It runs a 3-inch hammer-forged barrel, sits right around 6 inches overall, measures about an inch wide, and weighs roughly 16 ounces unloaded. The part that stands out is capacity. Springfield kept the high stack layout, so you get 11+1 with the flush mag and 13+1 with the extended mag. That puts it at the top of the 380 carry class in terms of round count, while still staying in a P365-sized footprint. The slide is OSP ready for RMSC pattern optics, and the sights are the same U-dot setup with a tritium front and a serrated rear. They also tightened up the shootability with a dual captive recoil spring system. Paired with 380 ACP, the recoil impulse drops noticeably, which makes it easier to run doubles or controlled pairs without fighting the gun. Defensive 380 loads typically hit in the 190 to 220 foot-pound range out of barrels this short, which lines up with what most people expect from this caliber in real carry distances. For SHOT Show 2026, this is one of the micro carry guns I'd actually stop and get trigger time on because of how balanced the whole package feels. Glock V Series. Glock, shaking up most of their catalog right before SHOT Show 2026, puts the V Series at the top of my go handle this in person list. Glock already confirmed that the V line is rolling out in late 2025 and phasing out more than 30 existing models, including core guns like the G17, G19, G19X, G45, and G26, with updated versions like the G17V, G19V, G19XV, G45V, G26V, plus big frame V-MOS guns in 10mm and 45. That is a massive reset for a company that usually moves in small steps. From my side of the bench, the interesting part is how quiet the changes look until you dig into the details. Reports so far talk about revised frame geometry for better recoil control, A refined trigger system with a cleaner break, and standardized internals that line up across full-size, compact, and crossover frames. The big headline in the background is compliance. U.S. outlets and industry folks are already connecting the V redesign to new rules aimed at guns that are easy to convert with illegal switches. And several write-ups say the trigger bar, sear surfaces, and rear slide area have been tweaked, so current conversion devices do not drop in. That lines up with what California and a few other states are trying to clamp down on right now. By the time SHOT 2026 hits, media and dealers should have real trigger time on these, so that show becomes the first big chance to compare V-guns head-to-head with older Gen 5 pistols in terms of feel, accuracy, and optics support. Some sources are talking about universal optics-ready slides, while current listings still show a mix of standard and MOS variants, so I want to see in person how Glock actually implemented the optics solution and what changed in the grip and trigger feel. For anyone who runs Glock seriously, this line is going to be a key stop on the floor, because it is the direction the brand is taking for the next decade. Staccato Compact HD C3-6. Staccato's Compact HD C3-6 is one of those guns I flag as must-touch going into SHOT Show 2026, especially for folks who like premium, carry guns that run hard. They basically took the full-size HD duty concept, trimmed it down, and built a compact 2011 that still hits duty-grade performance, instead of feeling like a watered-down carry piece. On paper, the specs line up clean. It is a 9mm pistol with a 3.6-inch bull barrel, 15+1 capacity, and an aluminum alloy frame that keeps unloaded weight around 24 ounces. Overall length sits at about 7.1 inches, height around 4.8 to 4.9, and grip width about 1.2, so it lives in that Glock 19 footprint with a bit more rail and slide up front. The wild part for a Staccato is magazine choice. The HDC-3. 6 ships with two 15-round Mech-Gar Glock 19 pattern mags, and it is compatible with most Glock 19 magazines, which opens up a massive pool of mags and support gear. The feature set is what you would expect from their HD line. You get a single-action-only trigger in the 4 to 4.5 pound range, ambidextrous thumb safeties and slide stops, an external extractor, an active firing pin block, and their host optic system that keeps the rear sight in front of the optic for a solid lower third-type sight picture. The compact grip texture is set up with milder sides and aggressive front and back strap texturing, so it carries without hot spots but still locks in under recoil. The flat-wire recoil system is fully captive and tuned to keep the slide motion smooth with defensive 9mm loads. For SHOT Show 2026, this is the Staccato I would line up for on range day, because it represents where high-end concealed carry 2011 seconds are heading in terms of size, magazine ecosystem, and real duty-rated features.